We are live now.
Yes. Just waiting for confirmation and we can go live. Okay, I can see the comments. Okay, no more guests. All right, let's get started. Perfect. I have the go ahead. Let's get started. Let me quickly go ahead and thank you all for joining today, all of our participants that will be rolling in as well. And so let me jump into what exactly YIC is first, right? Before we get into the esteemed panelists that we have for our discussion today. Youth International Conclave is a global youth led organization committed to empowering young people through leadership, education, innovation, diplomacy, entrepreneurship, and international collaboration. Our mission is to connect aspiring leaders with global experts, policymakers, entrepreneurs, academics, and change makers. At YIC, we believe that young people are not just the leaders of tomorrow, they are the leaders of today. Through international conferences, leadership dialogues, fellowships, Model United Nations, training programs, we strive to equip youth with the knowledge, skills, and networks needed to address today's challenges and shape a better future. Our community spans multiple countries, bringing together individuals from diverse cultures and backgrounds who share a common vision of creating positive change through collaboration, innovation, and responsible leadership. Today's Global Leadership Dialogue reflects that vision by bringing together distinguished speakers from around the world to share their expertise on one of the most important topics of our time: the future of work, entrepreneurship, innovation, and artificial intelligence. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to attend one of YIC's events where I met some truly inspiring people from around the world. Those conversations stayed with me and reminded me of the value of learning from diverse perspectives. Since then, I've been fortunate to build communities, create opportunities, and keep learning from incredible people along the way. And today, I'm excited with YIC, joined by another remarkable group of leaders and innovators. We're privileged to be joined by an inspiring group of changemakers, each bringing a unique perspective from their work across leadership, innovation, sustainability, and technology. Let me jump into introducing our esteemed guest today. First up, we have Mohammed Hassan, who is the founder of Rafa Wealth, a platform designed to simplify wealth management by bringing diverse assets into one intelligent dashboard. Honestly, that sounds super interesting. So, before I introduce the next guest, Mohammed, would you be willing to share a few words about what it is and what brings you here today?
Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you so much for having this great panel about this very important topic, I would say. And yeah, regarding the introduction, basically, I have started to get into finance like a couple of years back, so, around 5 years back. And whenever I'm onboarding a new client, usually you are facing such a huge challenge of collecting all the asset classes from all different applications, all different numbers in one dashboard so we can make a proper decision for the next investment, which definitely made me ask, is there any tool or software which can help simplifying this process? So I start looking. I found some, to be honest, but none of them was able or integrated, let's say like this. None of them was integrated in the
Right.
GCC area where I'm living, where my clients are living. So I started to build the product that I wanted to have myself. And this is basically the very beginning story of Rafa Wealth. Yeah.
Of course, definitely. I think we already have some comments rolling in also, which we will address towards the end of the session. But keep bringing in the questions, guys. I'm also super keen to know how exactly everything was built. Seems like a super interesting domain to be in.
Yeah.
Um, But before I also get super indulged in this, let us go on to our next speaker.
Sure.
We are also joined here today by Roberto Hernandez Suarez, who is an environmental lawyer, policy advisor, and researcher specializing in sustainability and climate governance. Roberto, if you could say a few words.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the Youth International Conclave for organizing this important event and this important conversation around AI in the future and how it specifically affects all youth around the world, specifically from the global south, and the necessary tools to be actors of change and reduce this inequality gap that's caused to climate change. So thank you so much and looking forward for the conversation.
Looking forward as well, Roberto. Thank you for joining us today. You are one of the most different, I would say, area that you're tackling. Environmental lawyer is something we don't get to hear often, and I'm really glad to have you on board with us today. Um, okay, next up we have Marina. Marina is a strategist, entrepreneur, and former corporate executive with more than 20 years of international experience working with some of the world's leading organizations. Thank you, Marina, for joining us today. If you could share a few words.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here, and I think to guide our young generation in this really turbulent time is really important because. In my time when I was starting in finance, mm, uh, things were fairly straightforward. You either go to finance or you go to legal and you make the money. Now things are really changing, and 80% of the jobs which we have now will not exist in a few years. This is why it's really, I think, important to have this diverse panel to give our perspective to the young leaders, which are going to to get to inherit this world and drive it further.
Yes, thank you so much, Marina. So I guess we have two people from finance domain now. I think the conversation is going to get very interesting, especially for us, someone who's so young. We'll get to see the differences and how exactly we're building in this domain. So thank you, Marina, for joining us today. Lastly, we have Larissa. Larissa is an international relations student at the Federal University of Roraima, Brazil, sorry, with a strong passion for global governance, youth leadership, diplomacy, and sustainable development. Thank you, Larissa, for joining us. How are we? How are you feeling today? Could you share a few words?
I am fine. I hope you are doing well too. It is a pleasure to be here with you, with so many inspiring people from different parts of the world. Thank you for taking time to join this important conversation, and it's a really pleasure to be here with you all. First of all, I would to thank the Youth International Conclave for this invitation, and it is an honor to represent Brazil and to share this space with so many inspiring young leaders from around the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Larissa, for joining us today. I think we'll have a nice young perspective on our panel as well today. We see what we're building, what we can take out from this conversation today. So, a lot of great things. This conversation is going to be amazing. So, let's just jump right into it. Um, all right, wait. Before I jump into my first question, I think we have one more speaker who has joined in. Um, Hi, Hava. I've added you to the stage. We are live. Are you able to hear us?
Yes,
Hi. Okay, let me quickly introduce you as well. So we have our speakers already rolled in. We went through our introductions. So before we jump into the discussion, I'll quickly introduce you as well. Haba is a global youth facilitator, corporate soft skills trainer, and a certified SDGs trainer. It's great to have you, Haba, finally. If you
thank
could say a
you.
few words, we'd love to hear.
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me. I'm first of all extremely sorry for joining late because right now I am Turkey, Istanbul for the conference. So that's why just joining from here.
It's
Thank
okay,
you.
no. All right. Well, welcome. Thank you all the guests for rolling in. Let us jump right into our first question. Um, I want to start off by asking, what opportunities do young people often overlook? I think this question is something that I personally have been looking for an answer to as well, because since there's just so many things happening around us, we don't know if we should just chase another AI trend, or should we just build something in the AI domain because, for the sake of it, or is AI actually going to solve something? So I think in all of that ruckus, we kind of get lost and we don't know what we should actually focus on. So for all of you, what would be one opportunity that you would say that young people often overlook?
So
Anyone?
if I would to start, I would start by one quote from Peter Thiel book Zero to One, which I remember so good, when he said the next Bill Gates will not build a Windows, and the next Microsoft will not build a social network. So
Hmm.
basically, what this means that the next big entrepreneurs will definitely not build a well-known solution for a well-known problem that we are already utilizing right now. And what I can see that because of the very big hype and the very big focus from all media, whether it's social media or the normal media, on the successful entrepreneurs. So all our brains are by default directed to build something similar, while the real opportunities might be sitting just beside you in the real world to solve your own problem, as I just mentioned when I started Rafa with solving my own problem, or solving your very close to community problems in the very daily activities that you may face or your community face. So if I were to say what exactly you are overlooking, you are looking to a very famous examples, I would say, and letting the real business in your neighborhood, in your own self. So if I would to give some examples, and definitely in the era of AI, where it can do a lot of things, we can talk about the laundry shops, for example, mechanical shops, electrician. All of these businesses can be very profitable right now, while no one is looking to them. The very normal business that is suffering, facing some problem in this digital domain, you can go figure out what is their problems and try to help them to solve those problems and build a business surrounding this. So my own advice, try to get away from the noise, focus on the real problems in your surroundings, solve these problems. This will definitely drive you a business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anyone else wants to add?
Well, I'd like to approach a little bit differently. Like, I don't necessarily see like one particular option, one particular avenue which you might not see, but generally the something which is really important for you, it's very often under your nose. And something in front of your nose is really difficult to see. So you might actually divert yourself to a lot of different avenues, but the truth can be very straightforward. Like, I don't know, if you want to make money, not necessarily you need to have an amazing education, even though I am very big advocate for good education and for, excellence. However, here, for example, in the UAE, we can see that people make money, not so much on crypto startups or something like this, but people or finance industry, people who make really a lot of money are people who buy and sell things, and the most boring things in the world, like the air conditioning units, the chemicals for the swimming pools, and gas and oil contracts, silver bullets, And those are the people who own the villas on the Palm Jumeirah for $20 million. It's not
100%.
the finance people like me, who own those villas. So, very often the things around you can be distracting. But what will definitely be valuable, and I think there is a consensus that what will be valuable in for the next generation is not so much the hard skills, but definitely the understanding of how AI works, plus the soft skills. The imagination, the creativity, the curiosity, the leadership skills, the um, team qualities, the human qualities. This is what is really going to be valuable, because we will really have to make a big effort to make a human-centric world, to build a human-centric world around all this what is happening with us right now. So this is why I think developing your character, your resilience, your qualities as a human being is the most important right now, to be honest. And of course AI awareness, because if we see now the 50% of capital goes to AI startups. So for the AI awareness is very important in large organizations and in the startups. And of course, if you have technical skills, it's not so much about the actual technical skills, but it's more about having a structured brain and understanding how things work, so that the coding skills will not be necessary, but the understanding how it works. This is what is going to be very necessary, because when you cannot think in a structured way. Some people, I have a very structured brain, but some people, when they're thinking, I don't know, some of the parts is not equal 100%. Then you cannot write a program about it, around it, because it's not going to work. So you really need to have this structure of your mind. So these things I think are important.
Absolutely. I think that brings us to a second point that very closely relates to it, is exactly how is AI, changing our workspace and the career landscape going forward. For someone who's already been working for a couple of years, has experience in the way traditional workspaces used to work, how exactly is AI changing all of that? I feel like a lot of people just get the work done. 3 4 roles have been merged into one single role, because one person, if they can think creatively, they are able to achieve things faster and more better, I think, than like the effort of 3 4 people combined. So I think in that way workspaces are changing a bit, and they're changing faster as well. But from your point of view, how exactly is AI changing it, and what kind of things should we ignore, what kind of things should we learn, and how do we move forward from that?
Yeah, I don't know if I can take the word here. I think that was a perfect introduction, because I think when we talk about AI work investment and everything around AI in our world, it's it always highlight that we are transitioning from a traditional model, from a digitalized model, and everything that AI, crypto, and the technology brings to society. It's we're talking about a transition, and from this we have a conversation with UNESCO in the last 7 years, talking about ethics of AI and how to make this transition soft for all the people, because we mentioned here we probably will lose millions of jobs in the upcoming years. But it's also another chart that we're seeing is that in the upcoming years we will have the most increase of millionaires in the world. So how is this going to happen if we are losing jobs? So this transition and changing from traditional models, it's not only on work but fundamentally on education. We as my fellow panelists were sharing, what we've seen is that traditional models on education does not work anymore, and this increases the inequality gap between the young people and people that have access to technology. So it's a global warning about the future of opportunities. So right now, the last question was which opportunities we overlook, and I think is the access to technology and education on technology, because everything, and specifically from the private sector, it's happening in digitalized. All the opportunities, you find your job on LinkedIn, you find your job on a website, and this might seems normal for um, certain societies or countries, but 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or even before the pandemic, we were making job applications on paper. Or 20 years ago, people used to take their job applications or interviews with a person. Now you have, or mostly you have, conversations with AI or an agent. So to realize that inequality and that transition, I think that's the key to understand it. UN Secretary General was also sharing in one of um, his communication that AI is helping us to build a better future, but AI must be honest about what it costs to us right now, talking on the environmental effects and how this data center and this AI does not exist only on the cloud. It does have an effect on the environment, on land, in certain communities. So imagine that you lose your job because you don't have the tools on AI, and you lose your community because you have a data center just next to you. So these point of view are really important, because we're talking about people's life, we're talking about the future of the next generation, and the opportunities that we will give to them. So I'll focus on education, and I think that's the opportunity we are overlooking.
So would you say, correct me if I've understood wrong, so in a way, are you saying that even though there are going to be lesser jobs because of AI, in a way there still will be more jobs? You just need to be educated enough, you need to know where to look at, you need that digital awareness so that you know what you need to go for. Maybe the traditional roles that people might have applied for before may not exist, but there are definitely more things increasing, and more ways to go about things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like from 20 years ago, we talk about coding, but now AI can code within minutes, or can create a complex coding application or models, even for trade, and understand how this next generation of coding, how to manage it or how to use it. I think that's the key, and what we should be educating right now, because it's not that things just change without a reason. It's changing to improve time, quality, process. So that's what I think we need to focus. Yeah.
Right. I think, Marina, then it brings back to your point of how it may know how to code, but you need to know how it works. So,
Yes, and also the way of thinking, the really way of thinking is changing from linear thinking to systems thinking.
yes.
So if we in the past we thought A to Z, now we need to think in the whole abundance of opportunities. There is even there is a lot of research I'm doing personally, because actually in my work I bridge science and spirituality, and I bridge ancient and modern science. This is my work with Spiritual Corporation, which is building human-centric systems for organizations. And this research actually leads us to the concept of Akashic field, which was very largely explored in the spirituality space, but now it gets outside of spirituality space, because if you see, everything is a sphere of opportunity, so every step has a lot of different possible outcomes. Then you can kind of grasp the picture in a lot more dimensions. And this is why there is a lot of debate around neurodiversity, because what they're talking about, that ADHD people are actually the people who can't think in systems, and they get to be confused and jittery, and they are struggling to focus on one thing because they see all the things.
Yeah,
But excluding them from the workplace is not beneficial at all, because actually they are bringing this systems approach, and even though they need probably a lot of help like focusing and organizing themselves, but then they can bring the perspective which other
They bring
people don't
something
see.
different to the table, right?
Yes, and
Yeah.
the same about women. We have done a lot of research in terms of, obviously we know that women empowerment is a good thing, but do we really understand why women empowerment is a good thing? Because actually, women are more right brain, more intuitive, more creative. And for that matter, they can help more to bring, we can help to build those cultures which are actually integrating the left and right brain. Because my finance world is become very left brain and way too left brain. But we know that ancient civilizations which thrived and lived in peace and abundance, they actually were thriving on the left right brain integration. So we're trying to bring those tools in the workplace. How do we do this? Because we have 5 brain waves, but we're using 2. So this is not effective way of being, in the workplace and in life in general. So we need to shift our perception a bit from this.
Definitely. I think with workspaces expanding, I feel like some companies decide that, oh no, AI can handle everything. Let me eliminate workspace. But as you rightfully pointed out, every human with different abilities, that would be women, people with ADHD, whatever it may be, everyone brings a different perspective to the table, which I don't think AI can ever reproduce or replace in a way. So I think that is one thing we still can be hopeful about. But I think we've gone a little ahead into being too optimistic about AI, that we can still create, we can still build, we can avoid the noise. But coming back to a bit more grounding level, what would you think a young person starting out something of his own, like in trying to become an entrepreneur, what is one thing he should definitely avoid?
Should definitely avoid is to start building the product without knowing if there is a real customer who is willing to pay money for that product. So basically, in the time of AI, building a product become very extremely easy. However, distributing the product is becoming extremely hard because of all the distraction, because of all the new products is coming every single hour, I would say, not every single day.
Right.
So if I would start today, I will definitely not go to build a product. Maybe I will just build an MVP, minimum viable product, very small version of that product, or even just a landing page, and start to explain what is a product,
Take
what it
feedback.
solves, how it can help the target audience or the expected customer. And then I might open a wait list, for example, where you can be 50% of the actual price. And then if I to get any potential customers, I would go to build that product. Before that, definitely no need to build a product without knowing that there is an existing customer is willing to pay for that product. With that said, we can say that in today's era of AI, where we already have seen that the content generated by AI already suppressed the content generated by humans last year in July. This means that the noise is already reached to the unexpected limits. And for you to be able to succeed today, you have to have your own voice, which we used to call the personal branding, for example, or in a business context, you can call it distribution. How you can reach to the real customers, how you can reach or send a message about your content or about your product to the real customers who are really willing to pay for your products. Yeah.
Definitely. Um, Roberto, I just had a point that I want to bring out, which Mohammed just brought it into my mind. So, when you're working and taking feedback, like in the space of environmental lawyer, how exactly does AI impact? How exactly do you know, okay, I can trust AI for these facts or going forward? Or this is something I need to connect with actual people, do some ground research before proceeding ahead. How do you make that call exactly?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. We already have a lot of research fields, specifically from law and ethics, since the beginning of law itself.
Yeah.
And now the disruptive conversation that AI is leading us, it's first of all the servers and the infrastructure that AI is built upon on. It's a private infrastructure. So the way that AI is affecting societies and democracies specifically, and how it's can be implied, it's a thing that it's also affecting human rights. So from that starting point of view, the conversation has been taken to multilateralism and how this also affects not only um, person individuals, but also countries and their development, and specifically the creation of technology that can also affect the whole humanity. So as we were saying, specifically from the environmental point of view, also the way that we accept data centers and the way that we have this technology within our countries and in specific communities, because it does take a lot of energy resources. It does take a lot of water, depending on the models. I know there's been a lot of innovation and technology development from the AI itself to improve itself. Right now, we don't have as a world, we don't have a global solution how we're gonna face it, or how we're gonna take this decision that absolutely would affect the next generations. So yeah, we were also talking about the future, and how some um, startups can have the solution how to focus and involve. I think, and it was said perfectly, I think the soft skills and complexity, the transdisciplinary models are key to understand the impact. For example, and thinking back to your question, it's necessary to understand the impact of AI, not only on persons and individuals, but also on the environmental and the future generations that we have. Recent resolutions from the International Court of Justice, or the Inter-American Court of uh, the Inter-American Court, talking about the future of the next generation and their rights. So I don't think there's a specific answer that solve all our problems
Definitely.
on AI and the effect on the environmental, because yet we are still figuring out some um, impacts in society in general. But of course, the existing environmental and frameworks and treats on uh, the multilateralism level talks about to reduce that impact and really focus on, based on human rights. There's some really beautiful research that says that we are going to recognize AI, and we are going to recognize rights to AI, because just as human rights, the access to water, the access to energy, it's the access to that infrastructure. So it's really interesting to see how on the international level, and I think this is an open conversation, not yet closed, how the international framework around AI and technology will change to secure that supplies around the world for the technology. So yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. I also would love to know. I think that's a whole different conversation to have in itself, because it carries so much weight and so much uncertainty still, because there are still conversations, people are still unsure about it, they're still learning more about it. So hopefully, maybe, who knows, YIC will be back with another conversation on just that particular domain. That would be super exciting. But I think, let us just go a little more deeper, because we're getting certain comments also related to what skills could AI help us hone, what skills should we learn because of AI, and could AI help us learn those skills maybe. So I would like to break this into two parts. And Larissa, I think you could also bring in like a very young perspective into this, as like how we are using AI right now, and then you can sort of bounce back.
I would always love to say that information now became a very easy, accessible.
Accessible thing.
You can definitely learn anything from zero to hero, almost with zero cost. What is very important, however, is how to implement this knowledge in the real life. So let's say if we are talking about the same topics that we are bringing here, whether it's finance, coding, legal, whatever you can name the domain. Definitely, you can go to YouTube, ask ChatGPT, then you can learn as much information as you can. How to implement this in real life will become the real challenge. So here you have two ways, as I have seen, to get such precious experience. It's either you go yourself and start implementing, start trying, make iterations, trials and errors, make fails and learn from these mistakes and reiterate again. Put yourself out in front of the whole people and get feedback,
Get
solve
feedback.
this feedback and put yourself again in front of the whole people. This is what I can call the fast track, because you are learning from implementing the real thing. If you know about this book, The Outliers, from Malcolm Gladwell, he used to say that for someone to master some domain, he needs like 10,000 hours of working in that domain. However, in our today's work, as Naval mentioned on one of his tweets, it's about 10,000 iterations, not 10,000 hours. So if I would be able to learn by implementing, learn by practicing, by trial and error for 10,000 times, definitely 100%. I can assure you that you will reach to a certain level of expertise which cannot be missed, which cannot be ignored. And the second track, I would say, could be getting a mentorship from someone who is already implementing the real thing on the real world, and he can advise. But again, this will be considered, sorry, this can be considered like a shortcut for the knowledge, but still, again, you have to take this shortcut and re-implement it your way. So if I again, if I were to start today, I will never ever be worried about the certificates or the degree or any kind of this fancy stuff that we used to know before. However, again, like Maria, I so much value the education, so much value the learning process. But I want to say that experiencing and implementing will be the real solution for any kind of problems these days.
So keep on iterating.
Yes.
Implement, iterate.
Yep.
That's amazing. Um, I want to take that feedback honestly today back with me.
Yeah.
um, I feel like we always want to learn everything. We feel like we'll feel more confident if we've done this course, we've gotten this certification, and then we'd feel like we deserve to, like, start now. And then we fail and we're like, oh no, we did everything right. Why did it still not work out? But it's the iteration and the implementation that really gets it going.
There must be a very trick mindset here. When you understand that failure is part of the process, failure is part of the way to success. It's not
Yes.
the end of the story.
Yes.
Actually, if you are not getting to fail, you are not going to learn anything new. Basically, end of the story. So if we can accompany this mindset, I believe it will definitely enhance everything in our life, in our careers, in our startups, in our entrepreneur life. Yeah.
Definitely. Larissa, do you want to add on to this anything? How exactly AI can help, learn specific skills, or what skills should we learn because of AI?
Yes, I want to say just that I believe the young people have a unique perspective of AI. because we are growing up during of the biggest technology transformations in this story. So we see this of a firm really close. So we are living this, and many young people see AI as an opportunity to learn faster, create new ideas, start business, and I really think that I really help us. But in these days, I see principally in education that I has educated some of our students because it's really hard to keep a good education and how can I say this? And keep a good education and bring IE for this education without taking this part of the communication. So it's really hard to enunciate it.
Things, right? You just have to put yourself out there, basically.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Let me quickly open the comment section as well. There's a lot of questions rolling
Yeah,
in.
there's a lot of lovely questions in the comment
Yeah,
section.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Do you want, if you guys see something you want to pick up, or do you want me to?
Can I just add a few words on what we were discussing?
Of course.
I wanted to add on what not to do. So what comes to me as a no-go is being rigid, because definitely we have to be very, very flexible and accepting, because there are so many things nowadays which are going out of our control. And I would say our ability to control reality in the past was a lot higher. It was more predictable environment. Everything was a lot slower. Nowadays,
Right.
things are going really quick, and they're going in the unexpected directions. So we need to be really able to really quickly adapt and change the course and review the course, and at the same time staying true to ourselves, like
Very important.
keep following our purpose, knowing who we are, why we're here, what we're going for. And that, of course, I fully agree about the mentorship. This is very important to hear from people, and not just one person, but maybe a bunch of people who know things in different areas which you are interested in. And another thing, how to learn, we need to understand that AI cannot think. Yeah, it has a lot of information, but it cannot think, and it will divert you to certain avenues and certain ways. So it's very important to be conscious that you are actually being kind of carefully programmed into its own way, in the way how AI thinks is the right way, but actually it might not be the right way, because it doesn't really read the whole book. For example, I was thinking in the beginning it's going to read the whole book. No. It knows the plot, but it hasn't read the book. So still take your book, read your book, ask it for sources of information, but go to the actual source, to the primary source of information, and check it, because it has bias. It hasn't read all the articles. And so very, very good tool is to say remove bias, because you will get completely different answer. And but also going to the primary source of information, to the articles, to the people, and to the literature, and
I would say
using
on
it
top of this,
to combine and connect the dots for you.
yeah, I would add to this that you need to go to the real source and adopt the real, very nature human skills, because AI will not be able to communicate with other people.
Yes,
AI will not have an imagination unless you have it. AI will not be able to live the
Take the
real world as a human. So if in today's world we are let's say a young man or a young girl going to the university or asking what specialization should I go for, I would say don't go to engineering, don't go to the finance or be a lawyer. Go to the real thing. Learn the soft skills. Learn the arts. Learn how to write an article. Learn how to do the very basic stuff that definitely AI will not be able to do, not now, not in the future. So if you have these very basic skills, but in a education level, down the road, you can leverage the AI to acquire the knowledge, then implement this knowledge in the real world using these skills. Yeah.
If I would be going now, getting a degree right now, I would get a neuroscience degree, because neuroscience degree, it tells you about the human, how the human works, and it also
Psychology,
tells you
yeah.
about how AI works, and
Yeah.
it also allows you to build certain skills and tools for yourself, for your life, because nobody really taught us lives, and now our young people are taught a bit more about life, but maybe still not enough. How to be happy, healthy, and wealthy, nobody is teaching. Like now, my son, he's 7, he is starting to learn a little bit of those skills. And there are quite a few sustainability people on our panel, so I will mention that as well, that when we're talking about SDGs of the United Nations, which are very good goals, we also can mention a chapter which is not officially under UN, but that exists, and I think only on LinkedIn they have like 35,000 followers. So it's a big movement, which is called Inner Development Goals, IDGs. And they're talking about, they have actually a lot of ancestral wisdom. They have the scientists, they have the politician in there, which are actually looking into how inner development of the human being can facilitate fulfilling the meeting the sustainable development goals. And they're talking about that without the inner development, we cannot meet the sustainable development goals. And so I'm a very big advocate of this approach of the human being knowing, who we are, how we relate to ourselves, how we relate to the others and the environment, and not losing this connection. And when we maintain this connection, all our ESG boxes are going to be ticked automatically, right? Because when we're conscious, we're not going to consume the wrong things. When we know what's good for us, we're not going to trash the environment, because what is good for the environment is actually good for us, like the organic, the natural, the connection, the fresh air, the clean water. It's all good for us as well. So when we are conscious individuals, I think we are going to meet the right goals as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. This has been so insightful for me as well, for our listeners here as well. I think we have a few minutes left. Do you want to pick up any question from the comments? Or would you like me to choose one? I think we've sprinted through a lot of these questions already.
I can see here a question: how is AI supposed to help us monetize our skills digitally? I believe this is one of the most important topics that will interest all the audience, because when we are talking about AI is taking jobs, so how can we solve this? How can we replace this? So if I would answer this question, I would say, don't wait for anyone to ask you to do some job. If you have really a digital skill, as the question is highlighting, like for example, you can write a script of a video or a post, or you can make graphic design or create a video. Whether this is done by yourself or done by AI. Don't apply for a job or don't wait for someone to ask you. Again, as I mentioned before, go put yourself in front of other people. So what feedback you can get on your creative, and based on this, you can enhance and iterate. Once you put yourself there on online in front of other people, getting feedback, you can use this feedback, getting the positive feedback at least, and approach some businesses that you can help them to enhance their writing, for example, enhance their visuals, make faster implementation for their video campaigns. Definitely, you have to again iterate, communicate with a lot of businesses, unless you land one or two customers. Once you landed one of those customers and try to over deliver, as they mentioned, and get good feedback, then you can use this feedback as a testimonial to get even more business. So as you can see, it's all starting from inside, not from outside, not waiting for a new job to be posted, then you apply, not waiting for a job interview, not waiting for someone to ask you. As the title of this session implementing that the era of AI is an era for builders, not followers, 100%, because no one will wait for you. Jobs are getting to be demolished, especially the entry levels jobs. And if you are not going to build the thing yourself, put it in front of the people, getting the feedback, I believe you will not find a real opportunity here.
Definitely. Thank you for summing that up very well. I think you brought our entire panel also into perspective. What Marina and Roberto have also been pointing out, you have to check the resources, you have to check the sources. You cannot trust AI just blindly. You need to go out, do the groundwork, see what's actually out there. And then, as you mentioned, keep iterating, keep implementing. Then Marina also highlighted that you need to find your purpose. You need to see what grounds you, what do you want to build. And then initially, at the end of the day, we can tick box another SDG, which are things that actually matter at the end of the day. It's not what should I build to monetize, what should I build to get rich. It's what should I build when someone is facing gets resolved, right? We are solving real people's problem, we are solving real world problems. So that is the era for builders, and that is how AI, we can use AI and leverage it. Now to build that, whatever skills we need, whatever we need to learn, is where we can also use AI again to learn. We can go from, as you said, zero to hero, because all of these resources are available. So I think that sums up our entire discussion today very beautifully. If anyone wants to add anything, one last thoughts, one last advice for our viewers here today before we wrap it up.
Yeah, if I may take just 1 minute, also to close the conversation, it's important to highlight and for the record that AI has coded bias, that it was created, that it was coded and also educated with all the racism, classism, and the negativity that human does have naturally and have through the internet and through different sources. And in that pursuit of perfection, I think it's not perfect, and it keeps being coded, updated, as you want to say it. But also, it's important to say that through this career that's happening worldwide, for the countries and the companies to have the best AI um, agent. We've seen how quickly it's happening. We have models not within years or months. We have new models and new updates in weeks. So it's important to keep on track and how everything's changing, because maybe what we said a few months ago or a few years ago, it's no longer on updated. Let's say it's not longer actual. And also on the last question, it was saying like, how can AI help us? AI can summarize, the agents can summarize trends, can summarize charts, can give you a perfect context for you, a project for your entrepreneur activity that you want to do. So that's the complexity, that probably you needed a team up to 10 people to analyze and give you some results or trends. You can have it now within minutes with a specific agent. So it's the fact of knowing that and using those tools will keep you ahead for a moment, or for now yet. So yeah, that will be an advice. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to, if possible, make a 1 minute comment on
Of
this
course, of course.
question about If AI can easily do all the office work, why would the companies hire a human? And that's once again because the AI cannot think, right? Because it is not a human, and it will never be a human. So the company will hire us for our human qualities. And the thriving workplace will use AI to automate everything what has an algorithm behind. And what doesn't have an algorithm, this will be our job. So I hope we will be spending more time in the day just, drinking tea, talking to each other, brainstorming and meditating, and maybe breathing, hopefully, as well. Maybe doing some common sports, and then having like creative sessions and brainstorming sessions, and really being humans, like contacting clients and speaking to each other, doing the deals and negotiating with each other. So those things that I don't think they can be replaced. So I think cultivating our human qualities is something what is the most important.
Definitely.
And
Be a there at the end. Yeah.
And I think what is really, really important to understand for the young people and for grown-up people, for more grown-up people, is that we are all very, 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 very special. Very special. Each of us is very special. And each of us is a piece of the puzzle, and each of us is very, very needed. Our unique perspective is extremely valuable. And there are going to be people, when we are our authentic self, there will be people who will want exactly that. Always. So we are all very important, and we are all very special, and we shouldn't forget about that.
Thank you so much for summing that up so beautifully, Marina. This has been truly an insightful session. As per the comments, also is very insightful, really insightful. Okay, so anyway, the stream will be available on YouTube even after this ends. Hopefully, it reaches out to a lot more people, and they can really take back on what we discussed today. It doesn't have to be so overwhelming. We just have to stick true to ourselves. We are all special, as Marina highlighted at the end, and we all have something to contribute at the end. It's not about obtaining a job or becoming rich suddenly. It's about solving real problems, and whatever, today maybe there's AI, tomorrow maybe there's robots, who knows what else is next. We will all leverage these things, these technologies around us, to solve real problems, things that really matter. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining here today. I hope to connect with you all soon later as well. Have a great day.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you so much.
Take care, everyone.